on to the event. We are currently having others as well tagging along, so we'll start in about 1 minute from now. Доброго дня, and welcome to the second launch event for the Seed Forum Global Startup Accelerator Program in cooperation with the Ukrainian Startup Fund and powered by iHUB Kiev. I'm Steiner, the founder of Seed Forum Global. It's great to see that all of you have tagged along for our event tonight. How the Seed Forum Global Accelerator Program stands out is first and foremost that we may assist you to accelerate in more than 50 countries worldwide. That certainly means that we may assist you to accelerate in what is known as the biggest market in the world, the US, from 4 destinations in New York, in San Francisco, in the upper Midwest, and in Texas. But we're, as examples, also working out of London, out of Scandinavia, out of Berlin, Germany, out of Paris, France, out of China, out of Singapore, out of India, out of Africa, as well as even out of Latin America and many other destinations around. We have more than 8,000 startups already in our acceleration badges, which we have presented to our current investor database globally with more than 20,000 unique investors. And I think it's also important for you to know that all our trainers in the Seed Forum Global Accelerator Program are all serial entrepreneurs themselves, even with successful exits. Now, the iHUB network currently is running 2 incubation programs, whereof one of those is the Seed Forum Accelerator Program. In iHUB in Kiev, more than 2,000 events have been hosted so far, and I'm quite proud to say that more than 45,000 people in Ukraine is a part currently of the iHUB community. More than 350 startups are per now residing in our 4 iHUBs in Kiev, in Lviv, in Vinnytsia, as well as in Chisinau in Moldova. And I think I must say that I'm also proud to say that more than $20 million have so far been invested in iHUB residents. iHUB works together with Seed Forum with many partners, and not only in Ukraine, but also in many other countries around the world. And particularly, I'd like to mention, among others, also that iHUB is UNESCO United Nations confirmed as an innovation center, and that also makes the iHUB network really stand out. The Seed Forum Global Accelerator Program consists of 4 main sections with 15 action points, and all of those 15 action points will give you concrete output. And constantly during the program, we will provide a series of interactive digital trainings for you with our world-leading global experts in different subjects. This also means that you will be hosted at iHUB in Kiev, and every week you will have a meeting point also with the other companies in startups in the batch, so you will also learn from each other. And we will also provide you with a dedicated international expert to follow you the 3 months during the accelerator program. The first section of the program is the business conceptual part, where we secure your business concept. First of all, we work to secure that you are really solving a problem, so that you have a market in the respective and in the time in the right timing in the respective international markets you're aiming for. We assist you to build your team, particularly in terms of securing that there is enough and well enough commercial competence in your team, that you have enough doers in your team, but we may also connect you with international experts that might tag along to your team. We assist you with your go-to-market strategy and as well with your competitive advantages definition, alternatively your first mover strategy. And we also secure that you have a good enough speed to succeed with your traction into international markets. The second section of the program is where we secure your financials. First and foremost, that is about securing your revenue model for international markets, but we also work with your financial plan to secure that you have well enough budgets and definition of your financial planning capital need in 3 years to come. And we also secure your ownership plan so that when you have investors on board, hopefully you will not be diluted too much. This also brings on board the value drivers, as were the topic for the previous launch seminar of the program to you some days ago. Exactly the trigger points of why investors should invest in you, and the value drivers, the trigger points for how to create great growth in your business. The third section of the program is where we conclude with you your investment memorandum. That's also the time when we secure your intellectual property and design strategy. And it might as well be that we will also need to provide some legal support to documentation when you are negotiating at the next step with investors. The fourth section of the program is the action part of the program. And that's first of all where we pull you through the Seed Forum Global Pitch Training to secure that you are as investor ready as absolutely possible when you talk to investors. And that's what you do through the Seed Forum digital investor events, where we present you to our international network of investors in many different other countries. That's the demo day. And as well, it might be that we will assist you also to run a crowdfunding equity campaign. And that's bringing you towards the two main aims of the accelerator program. First of all, for you to launch in international markets, and secondly, to raise at least not less than 50% of your private equity, your current private equity need from investors. That's what we're really bringing you forward through the accelerator program. I'm very proud to work together with a great team. Together with me, I have Frode Sundstebø. You will hear also from Frode a little bit later today. We also have Dmitry Podolyev, Vadim Petronin, and Olena Zai of iHUB in Kiev. Today, I'm bringing along as well 4 great experts with regards to the topic of today, which is business models that may change the world. I'm also bringing on board 2 reference companies. We'll hear from them a little bit later. But let me, before we continue, present our experts today. First of all, I'd like to ask our first expert, Frode Sundstebø. You're actually live on board today from Mexico City. And who are you, Frode? And why have you tagged along to the Seed Forum Global Accelerator Program?
Well, thanks, Steinar. I'm delighted to be here. I'm a serial entrepreneur and business angel, as well as a team member and expert of the Seed Forum Global Accelerator Program. I currently work out of Panama, Latin America, and now in Mexico, as you just stated. And I have spent the last 8 to 9 years in the American region. I first started as an entrepreneur by attending Seed Forum Global many years back, which further made the pathway for me becoming an international serial entrepreneur. And I'm very happy to share my startup knowledge, especially from the American part of the world.
Our next expert today is Lasse Meholm, and you're live out of Oslo, Norway. Lasse, who are you and why have you tagged along to the Seed Forum Global Accelerator Program as an expert?
Yes, thank you, Steinar. I'm also a multi-entrepreneur. I started a number of software companies, brought them to success, and then sold them one by one after 10 years each. Well, I'm very much focused on innovation and radical innovation and more like the disruptive growth kind of thing. And I'm really looking forward to this discussion today, because innovation, technical innovation, and disruption is extremely important in this market we have today.
Thank you very much, Lasse. And with us, live from Stockholm, Sweden, is Per Håkansson. And Per, who are you and why have you tagged along to the Seed Forum Global Accelerator Program as an expert?
Yeah, I'm Per. I'm a serial entrepreneur since 33 years, and mainly working with the media sector, gaming, and green tech at the last. And I've been involved with business development and of startups and supported quite a few of them for success. And I'm interested also to get you guys into a common success together on the international market. That's why.
Thank you very much, Per. And our final expert today is Sven-Erik Karlsson, live from Gothenburg, Sweden. And Sven-Erik, who are you and why have you tagged along to the Seed Forum Global Accelerator Program? Sven-Erik, you will need to unmute.
Sorry, my fault. Sorry, as all the other guys, I'm also an entrepreneur, been that for many years, and also been a partner of Seed Forum and worked internationally for many years, and well, learned a lot that was good, and learned a lot also to make a lot of mistakes, and I think I can contribute quite a bit to your businesses and make you a success.
Thank you. And also raising a very important thing, Sven-Erik. One learns out of mistakes as well. So thank you very much from Gothenburg. Now, all participants, the topic of today are game-changing business models that change the world. And I know that one of our experts, Frode, has prepared to present some of them to you. And Frode, back to you in Mexico City. The floor is yours.
That's right, Steinar. There are a lot of interesting revenue streams to be aware of. Maybe you have a recurring revenues, meaning you have revenues from clients that pay you on continuous or regular basis, which is expected to continue in the future, unlike the one-time sales. As part of a recurring revenue, you may have a subscription model, which is based on the idea of selling a product or service to receive a monthly or yearly recurring subscription revenue. Maybe you have a freemium model, a combination of the words free and premium, simple and basic services that are free for the user to try, but you also offer more advanced services or additional features if you pay for a premium. It might happen your business step into the sharing economy. This often involves some type of online platform that connects buyers and sellers, where the purpose is to share access to products or services. Maybe your business has a gig model platform. This is where your business offers temporary or flexible jobs where people and companies can hire independent contractors and freelancers instead of full-time employees. Then you have the razor and blades business model, which is another type of business tactic or strategy where the product often is sold as at a loss, but where the paired replacement consumable generates the profit. It might happen you generate revenue through the copyrights and licensing model, which is income earned by allowing your copyrighted or patented material to be used by others for a limited time period. Or maybe you're fortunate to have multiple revenue streams, which could be a combination of the already mentioned revenue streams or others.
Frode, thank you so much for this introduction. Now I believe our participants at least have some clue what could be some ideas of game-changing business models for exponential growth, not linear growth necessarily, but also exponential growth in international markets. I'd like to start off by asking, first of all, our expert Lasse Meholm out of Oslo, Norway. And Lasse, we consider you as a real great global expert of business models. You even wrote a bestseller book about what could change what has changed the world, and that relates to business model. Lasse, if you were one of our startups now in Ukraine, how would you think business model wise when you would approach international markets to create success? Lasse.
Well, yeah, that's a good question, Steinar. First of all, there's a number of big waves or changes coming around. I mean, green wave with the ECG, and you have the health thing. We are in the middle of pandemic here now. There's a lot of good information and good apps and good business model around the health thing now, and that's definitely one. Or the demographic, there's going to be a lot of old people in the future. So if you find something for them, they are happy to pay. They have a lot of money, at least in Europe. So find a big wave or a dramatic changes like the old people or green wave we are in the middle. There's a lot of good business model there to take it from there.
Thank you, Lasse. Let me ask you, Sven-Erik Gothenberg, Sweden. From your experience, how would you think if you were to do a startup out of Ukraine and to think about even, who knows, exponential growth in international markets from your own experience from starting companies in quite a few countries around the world?
Well, I think that Lasse is on a good path, but to combine a new invention or idea to get multiple income streams, I like that, because if you really want to take off, you want to really make sure that you don't have just one income stream. Make it multiple if you can, and there are many opportunities in the market for new products, and that will make you stronger and you can grow faster. So I think that's my best advice. And also remember, think big, because when you think big, you change the way you are looking at your business and also on your opportunities and the market and also your valuation of the company. So that's changed the whole thing many times.
Thank you very much. Per, may I ask you, from your experience, you've been an entrepreneur for more than 30 years around, right? And you have tremendous corporate experience as well. How would you think when it comes to business models for international markets?
First of all, it depends on the product concept you have. And if it's an ICT or it is some hardware, whatever it is. But it's of course important to find out really what the investor is looking for. And mainly if you can present a product that is demanded on the market. And then it depends on what kind of revenue stream you have in mind, of course. And you can attract the investor and really see that the forecast and for the sales of it is really requested, then you can be really a success. And I used to say that don't look at the trees, look at the stars.
Exactly. Thank you, Per. Back to you, Frode. You came up with a list, and you regularly live in Latin America, and you have a major experience as well from the US in terms of setting up businesses. You came up with a list of ideas for business models, but what is your own experience in terms of the list you came up with?
Well, in my experience, Sven-Erik actually touched base on basically my favorite, I guess, or what I would suggest you also touch base with when we're gonna move on with your business, and that is having multiple revenue streams. And I would, I really like when you manage to combine multiple revenue streams with a recurring revenue, like a subscription model. In my mind, that gives your business a better market position. It prepares you more for any market changes. For instance, if new competitors arrive, new disruptive competitors arrive, while it's more predictable, and it also assures the company's source of revenue.
Let me ask you about one particular way of thinking. May I ask you, Sven Erik, in terms of creation of recurring revenues, which basically means that your customer trusts you and believes so much again in you, so one buys your product or service again and again and again. Your revenues recur, right? And you can build that even onto a subscription model without any additional call-in every month, quarter, whatever of sales efforts. You may able just, to have a steady flowing, increasing revenue stream. What do you think about the opportunities to create recurring revenues and even a subscription model? I mean, what's kind of the basis for that thinking?
Yeah, the basis is that you want to have a low threshold as possible for the customers to get in, because if they have to pay off everything up front, that will maybe be too much for them. And then you lose the customer. So a lower entrance fee on a recurring model or a subscription model is really nice. You can also, depends on what kind of product or service you have, work with financial companies here, so you can actually get combination where you actually have the subscription model, but with a financial backed company, you can get all that money up front if you use a financial service. And that is also quite interesting, because then you have money to grow maybe faster than you imagined. So there are many opportunities.
Thank you. Lasse, it's said that a subscription model, recurring revenues, may revolutionize a company if you're able to do such a model. And that's really a good basis for exponential growth. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, you're right. I think it's if you start with a license model and then move to a recurring model, you're gonna lose a lot of income for a period, but you take it back after 2 years or 3 years or something like that. So it's better to choose the right one at the first time. But when it comes to recurring, as a customer, it's better to pay €10 a month than 120 upfront. So seen from the customer side, it might be better to have a recurring kind of thing. And since we are going more and more digital, more and more subscription kind of model, I think this recurrent kind of thing is might be much better. License kind of thing once a year or once 2 years or something is more or less an old way of thinking.
Well, thank you. Per, it might be that thinking recurring revenues and then on the way to a subscription model might be limited to industries, or what do you think? It is possible really to think subscription recurring revenues in all different types of industries? Per, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, sure. It depends, not all industries, but it depends on what kind of business you are in. And I mean, if you have a software and there is a request on the market, and then if you want to sell it, to license it, or setting up some kind of monthly base, whatever, that is, of course, one option. And the other thing is, of course, that you can do, as I'm very much for, profit sharing, when you have really found a concept that is very much of profiting, and then you can really share it with other partners or companies around you.
Thank you, Frode. Let's move. Yes, Lasse, yes, please.
Just to add something, I agree with you, Per. I'm working with blockchain and distributed ledger technology full time now. I'm working with Ernst & Young, the lawyer company, and I see this change not only to those two, but it's like the streaming. Why don't we pay per song when we use Spotify? Today we pay once a month, but it's even go further than the recurring kind of thing.
Now we're moving into very interesting thinking. This is kind of the high, almost like the next generation, right? For a subscription model thinking, right? Yeah. When you pay per click or pay per song, whatever, right? Not heavily for a service per month, right? And that is exactly, Lasse, as you pointed out, which comes particularly from smart contracts in blockchain, right? Frode, Do you agree in that? I mean, how is your own experience of evolving subscription models from your own startup business?
I think when you're having a subscription model and you start seeing that people are actually paying every month, you're in a beautiful place, because then you prove that you have a lot of happy clients that pay you every month, and they're happy about your product. So they're inside this little bubble of trust, as I like to call it. And inside that bubble, it makes it easier to upsell them on upgrades or other products or services that you may offer as well. And it also makes it possible to offer a service or a product at a lower access price, which makes it available to many more people. So you basically you spread the total amount of money you want for your product, you spread it over several months. And when the time is over, they don't, or let's say they cancel their subscription, they don't get your product anymore or your service anymore. So it's a very stable income stream compared to a pure one-time transaction-based revenue.
Well, gentlemen, we'll come back to all of you very shortly. But right now, I'd like to introduce our two, let's call them reference guys, because I already mentioned to our participants earlier in the event today that we've had more than 8,000 startups that tagged along and were a part of the Seed Forum Accelerator program during the period of 20 years we've been existing in many, many different countries around the world. And we've with us today two guys who've been presenting and meeting, for instance, our global investor network live as well in many seed forum destinations around the world. They raised money, and they are working with some, may I say, they're serial entrepreneurs as well, and working with some very interesting game-changing concepts. And we'd love to hear with regards to the business model. But before I introduce them, I'd like to inform all of you participants that there is a Q&A button in the Zoom, so you may as well ask questions if you wish, and we'll do our utmost towards the end of the event today to answer your questions. We have with us first and foremost Paul Christian Levang, again out of Oslo, Norway, with Nornir. And Paul, you're now putting up some slides here, and I'd like to ask you, who are you? What's Nornir? And how are you changing the world? And what's your revolutionary business model with real-time web?
So I'm a founder of a deep tech company. I'm more like a tech geek, been it for 30 years. And we have researched and developed a totally new technology for connecting objects and physical things using web technology. And for smart city, we call it like a collective network for intelligent machines. And we provide tools for developers. So our customers are developers making smart city infrastructure solutions and software solutions for IoT. And our business model is a kind of special because we have enhanced the web technology. As you know, web today are linking picture and text and videos, mostly files and information. But we have enhanced this technology to be able to link physical objects like a coffee machine or TV, television, a bicycle or door. Physical IoT objects become linkable. And so our company have multiple revenue streams opportunity. First of all, our main revenue today is a domain sale. So basically selling domain, you buy a domain, you become part of the network. And once you're part of the network, we are creating a kind of a app store-like marketplace where you can price label your data directly on your service, and you can share the data by other company links to your data. So basically it's a buy and sell community of linked data, and you can price your own data as you like. So it becomes like a marketplace. People buy and sell data by linking each other, and the consumer in the end, when they purchase the app, everybody that has contributed with data to that app get their cut of the revenue. And we are making tools for developers to enable this kind of value chain distribution model. And our main revenue is based on taking fee in the value chain, around like 25% fee for each kinds of value chain players. So 25% of their revenue again. So it's a huge opportunity for us to make a lot of money here. And the web is the biggest market in the world, of course, $1 trillion market. So it's a huge opportunity for my business.
Paul, thank you very much. Not only are you a game-changing company, a part of really building the next level of the internet. That's how I'm looking at this is kind of web, whatever points, right? Next level of the World Wide Web with Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. But you're also an outstanding example of exactly what we previously discussed today, a multiple revenue stream model for access and growth in international markets. We have another, if you could please then remove your slides, Paul. Thank you so much for your introduction. I'd like to introduce our next great reference company, which is Thumbad from Oslo, Norway. Could you share your exactly? Thank you very much. And Tor Olav Haugen, Oslo, Norway, with Thumbad. Who are you? What's Thumbad? And what is your game-changing business model, Tor Olav?
Thank you, Steinar. Thumbad is a world-leading company supporting brands to grow. And what we do is providing programmatic advertising as a managed service. And we are now active in Europe, US, South America, and Africa. And the technology is active in more than 170 markets. So what programmatic is all about is really buying people. Previously, people tend to buy websites in order to serve ads and put the brand in front of people, but programmatic is even something more important because it's about creating actionable insights across a connected ecosystem. And this truly enables brands to effectively target, optimize, and measure the media investment from a unified platform. And that's why programmatic has taken over how impressions and advertising are purchased, not only digital, but this is also shifting to TV, radio, and digital out of home. And the ecosystem is quite complex. You have a lot of different players in the ecosystem, where you have the sell side, where we are on the left-hand side, and you have the buy side, on the buy side on the left-hand side and the sell side on the right-hand side. So our business model, as this is an auction-based way of buying people and impressions, is to take a handling fee. So we take a handling fee in the range of 20 to 30% of the media spend, whereof our cost is baked into the total cost in order to make a predictable way for brands to plan for their budgets and returns. So programmatic is kind of changing things because we are buying people and based on people's interest.
Well, Tor Olav, thank you very much. And also an outstanding example of a very interesting business model, which is perhaps not mainstream because you're actually into, in a way, an auction model, but it's proven in international markets. So that's actually very exciting to see that one of the, I would say, in a way, mainstream business models as subscription, freemium, multiple thinking. You're also developing a little bit of a special kind of business model. May I ask you, Tor Olav, how do you see that yourself with regards to providing the auction model? Was it difficult to get there?
No, I mean, it's quite logic because this model is now kind of taking place, from the stock exchange to the advertising industry. Now it's moving over to power and electricity, and it's a very transparent way of buying and selling. And you always pay the right price. The seller always get the best price. So it's basically a perfect spot to be in. But of course, you need to decide a business model in order to make sure that you make your money, and at the same time that the money you make are fully transparent, and that your customers are allowed to look into what kind of money you are making and what kind of benefits they get out of the service.
Because you're using this business model not only in, I would say, the traditional markets, but you're also using the same business model in more of the emerging markets of the world. You mentioned, among others, Africa, right?
Yeah, correct. I just returned now after my third trip for the past 3 months to Nairobi, and programmatic is quite new there. So we kind of see that we are coming in with a version 5 product in a version 1 market. And not only is programmatic new there, but also the way of providing the business model is new, because everything is kind of in the blur. People really don't understand what they're paying for and which kind of benefits they get. And once they understand exactly how we are getting paid and how they can benefit from it, of course, that's paving the way to get trust and get the business pretty fast.
And I think this is a good example as well of how we work in the Seed Forum Global Accelerator Program. We are certainly providing acceleration services in Silicon Valley and New York and many other, I would say, traditional places. But we also active exactly as you mentioned now in Africa, Latin America, and so forth. Paul, I'm not sure if you're with us. Are you with us? Because I'd like to ask you a question. Yes, there you are. Paul, you have involved exactly the multiple revenue business model with all these streams. Has that been difficult when you have entered into several international markets?
Yeah, my difficulties, of course, I get a lot of good advice from Seed Forum experts along the way, and even raise money from them. But the thing is, we introduce new technology, so we have to train the market first. It's like the first fax machine. The one who bought the first fax machine has no one to fax to. And when you're building an ecosystem like this, you need to have a critical mass before you can implement the main revenue model. So subscription model and licensing is typical model we have to use before we can start, harvest from the main business model.
Thank you very much. And I'm also happy to understand actually that both of you are eagerly as well currently looking at even the Ukrainian market for your services, both in terms of programmatic for Thumbpad and as well with regards to smart cities for Northern. So welcome aboard as well for the Ukrainian approach. So thank you so much to Paul and to Roland. I don't yet see that we have any questions from other participants, but you're certainly free to ask questions in the Q&A model. But let me then continue by asking our experts with regards to the business model. What do you think, Lasse, when you hear these two guys? We have a good example here of an auction model and the multiple revenue streams model with a proven international success. What's your take on this? Is this regular, or is it a hard thing? You've done, many businesses yourself in international markets. What do you think?
No, I agree with you, and I agree with Paul and to Olav as well. I think this auction model is splendid. It's fantastic, and that's what's driving Google, for example. They had this AdWord. It's more or less an auction model. And it's almost 95% of the revenue stream in Google is based on that model. And as I said, it's transparent, and transparency is more and more important now. I think that business model is definitely for the future.
Sven Erik, you've been working with hundreds of companies in terms of acceleration, in addition to your own businesses during many years in your presentations in Seed Forum and collecting money from investors in Seed Forum and so forth. What do you think about this? I mean, are these regular, what's your take on this?
I think it's really, really interesting. And but again, you have to have a good team so you can actually brainstorm. You have to know something about the market that you have to change. You want to change it to something new. You have to test it out, and it takes time to get there. But you have to do this homework before you actually go there. So there's a lot of work to do before you can actually get there. But it's a trial and error all the time. You have to know where you want to go and find the path to the right place. So it requires a lot of work, but it's so interesting when you crack this code on how to do it. It's amazing.
Thank you. Let me ask you, Per, you mentioned earlier today that, just following up now what Sven Erik said, it's about big thinking. You said that earlier, Per, and this also needs to tag along with commercial competence, because often a startup, I'm not sure about our participants today, but in many cases, it's no problem with technology competence in the team, but the commercial competence exactly related to business models, for instance, is very important, right? As everybody, I think, understands that now. What's your take on that, Per? How important really is the commercial competence in the team to create international successful business models?
of course, it's very it's very important, but it's also can be hard to have the developer or the entrepreneur really going out directly to investors. So before trade, and I mean in the Seed Forum program, it's very good because here we can train the entrepreneurs and do the right pitch for the right people. But sometimes you need also people around you, not going alone. And I mean that going out on the big market, let's say, international, then you also need a network around you to get to success.
Thank you very much. Let me ask you, Frode, you've done several international startups, right? In different countries, emerging markets, traditional markets, and so forth. Are you yourself thinking big enough, even after this, to create a successful international business model? And as well, how important is the commercial competence in the team, would you say?
Well, yes, I would say, first of all, like the commercial competence, I think, at least in my experience, is very often that you often have teams coming out from, you know, a profession, and you have a lot of ideas and you start developing on it. And you, of course, have the competence because you've been working on it for many years. Then you have, as I've seen many, many times, people with just great ideas, and they think, oh, this should probably be, you know, this could revolutionize or do something with the market. But in that sense, I think it's extremely important that you start talking with potential partners, you know, people you know in the field, so you can really test this and to get a lot of feedback before you start moving forward with the idea. You know, the lean startup methodology, basically.
Very well. I define commercial competence in a team simply by getting someone into the team that has enough international access to market competence, has enough, I mean, business model simulation competence, create sales channels, basically have all the commercial, you know, ideas and competence to actually access new international markets for growth. And that's simply what we do in Seed Forum. We connect as well tech teams in different countries with commercial team members in other countries, including our own experts, actually. Sven-Erik, how important has big thinking and commercial competence in team been for yourself in terms of creating successful, well, international growth has to do with actually evolving a business model. That's the whole point, isn't it?
It is, and maybe there is a learning curve. Maybe you make some mistakes along the way, but it changed the whole way where you actually are attracting team members, capital, and also building the functionality or the product or the service for the market. Because just as an example, I coached a company like 2 years ago. They invested like 7 years into a company. They were just about to close it, but after a session, they saw that, okay, we totally was thinking just locally in this country, but from one weekend to another, they changed the whole company, the view of themselves, and the approach and the communication they needed to add to the product that they had. And today they are on the top list in Palo Alto within their field, and they have they are well financed and everything. But that was just because they changed their mind on their business and who they were and what kind of position they would have on the markets. So I'd say it's a game changer for those who are thinking small when they change to thinking big.
Thank you very much. We're going towards the end of the event, but I have one final very important question. I'm going to ask that question to you, Lasse, and that's exactly in terms of our human brain regularly has limitations to think exponential. We can think linear, but when it comes into creating businesses that just explodes like Google, Facebook, Uber, Airbnb, whatever, is almost like a problem for our own brain to imagine those possibilities for exponential growth. And now we're moving into the world of blockchain. We already were into that, and new ways of thinking for international access. how do you foresee the world in 5, 6, 7, whatever, 10 years in terms of new business models evolving?
Well, as I said, our brain isn't built for exponential thinking. It's built for linear thinking. So you can think that we can have 10% or 15% or something more revenue next year than this year. But if you manage to make something sticky, so you get the ecosystem, as Sven-Erik mentioned. I said to my friend, use this, download this app, and then download this, and they said it to their friends again. So you get something sticky or kind of pandemic, but technology pandemic. Then you can do it. I'm sure this streaming of money is really important. You pay by song or per kilometer road, and you, as a little by little and little by little, not a big thing every year. So I think the business model is going to be more streaming of payment rather than once a year kind of thing, and it's gonna change quite a lot.
Thank you very much, Lasse. I believe that our participants today understands a little bit even better after this seminar how we're working in Seed Forum. It is very, very important that one evolves a business model for international growth coming out of your position in Ukraine. I would like, as the final effort of the webinar today, to ask each of our experts in different companies what they, from their point of view as not only experts, but also all of them participating today, serial entrepreneurs with experience from not only one, but several international markets. Let me start off with you, Frode. What is your strong advice in further actions for our Ukrainian participants today? Frode, you need to unmute. Frode, you need to unmute.
Oops, sorry. I keep, yeah, there we go. Yes, no, we've been through a lot of interesting topics. Of course, you have everything about the revenue models. You ended up now with exponential thinking big enough. And all of these things could be a maze and take a lot of time in an early stage process of developing your concept. But with Seed Forum, we will make sure to straighten out that maze and make that path much more targeted. So you are ready for the next step in your business empire, basically.
Thank you. Per, what is your strong advice to our Ukrainian startups participating today?
Find your own USP, unique selling point, really, that is demanded on the market. And team building. Set up a team of the partners around you, and then you get stronger. And from there you can point out about the technicians and the commercial side. And yeah, that's it. And I'm very curious myself to find out if I can be part and guiding you into the success in the international market.
Thank you. Let me ask you, Lasse, what's your strong advice to our participants today?
Thank you. Well, if you want to change the world, you have to focus on changing the world. You have to focus on the product or the service that you will launch, not about the money. But if you get customers that are happy with you, then money will come after. So focus on really changing the world and the product you want to launch.
Thank you. And Sven-Erik, what is your strong advice to our participants today?
Yeah, get in here, get into this opportunity, because the people you find here and the network is really amazing. I done it myself, and it was back in the early 2010, I think, when I started out with the Seed Forum, and that helped me a lot. I was all over the world. We were in New York, in Dubai, we were in Asia, we were in London, Iceland, but the big part here is actually the people and the network that you get, both not maybe only money, but you also get customers along the way. That's the awesome part. You need customers when you are starting out.
Thank you. Before we end up with the comments from our experts, I see, Frode, that we have a question. Frode, could you please refer the question from Irina? Could you please say the question?
Definitely. Okay, so a question from Irina. Hello. Here is Irina from the Bank of Memories. We save and transmit data to the future with blockchain. Is a night level of privacy and more than 3 copies restored. Our business model is called pay for what you save. This means we only charge for space the customer uses. We want this product to become massive, and thus we expect to get an average $5 per year, plus we offer one function in the app that must be paid separately, $30. And here's the question: to become massive, should we charge less?
Let me ask that to Lasse. Lasse, shall Irina ask for less? What do you think?
No, I said it was it 30 years, $30 a year and 5. And now I think it's important to get enough as soon as enough. Get so many on board in next week or the week after or next month or something, and then you can increase the price. So make it cheap in the start, and then prepare to rise the price. You give it the free the first 100 and 1,000, and then you can start to raise. And if you have 10 million, then user, then you can add double the price. So start cheap and increase.
I think that Irina is exactly in the business for potential exponential growth here, right? And Sven Erik, I'll give you the final comment of the experts. Do you agree with Lasse, with advice to Irina?
Absolutely. Get the customers in. Give them some treat and give them big value, and then they will stay and stick with you, and they will also pay more. So learn to use your service.
Yes, and I can see that Irina said thank you very much for your advice. So you're welcome, Irina. Our final words today goes to our 2 references. And then Paul, you've been all around the world with Seed Forum so many times. You raised money, blah, blah, blah. What is your strong advice to our Ukrainian startups participating today?
I think the Seed Forum provides very huge network. Like I managed to raise money from Singapore, from Dubai. I even got contact with the largest airport project in Dubai through Seed Forum. And we have been pre-qualified to deliver technology for the big airport project there. So it's not only about money; it's about getting contact and the network. So
thank you.
I'm very happy about Seed Forum.
Thank you. Turula, what's your strong advice to our Ukrainian participants today as the final word of the webinar?
Yeah, I'd say join Seed Forum because you have the infrastructure, the experience, you have a great team, across the world, which can really help you not open doors, but also open the mind and really think big. So I think my advice would be do Seed Forum and do it now because it's going to change a lot for you guys.
Well, it's time for me now to thank our experts today as well, our 2 reference companies. Thank you very much for participating as well, all our participants. The webinar is live on the iHUB YouTube channel, as well as the previous launch seminar about the value driver you may find there. And we're hoping that certainly you're going to tag along for the Seed Forum Accelerator program. And to do so, you need to be in contact with our guys in iHUB in Kiev. You may also look for the LinkedIn profiles of all our experts and participants today. So you have our names now. We've been on the screen for 50 minutes. So tag along and ask us questions directly if you would like to do so. So I do hope to see all of you in the Seed Forum Accelerator program shortly. And that's thanks from me now. I'm Steiner, the founder of Seed Forum. Good to have you on board, and have a wonderful continuous evening. Good luck.